Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is going to be a quick tutorial on Fool in the Rain by Led Zeppelin. And where I would start with this, I would say like a prerequisite for this beat is like you got to know like a halftime shuffle and just shuffles in general. So if you're not familiar with playing a shuffle pattern, just real quick, it's based on eighth note triplets, and you're basically playing the first and last note of each eighth note triplet. So instead of going one triplet, you're going one triplet. And then when we loop that, we get this. And so I would start here. This is actually within the beat. I would start, this is like the most basic version of a halftime shuffle. Just one on the kick, three on the snare, and then that shuffle pattern on the hi-hat. So that'd be like this. And one other thing I'll point out is if you notice, I'm playing the hi-hat where I'm going edge, top, edge, top. It's a very common thing you see in a lot of drum beats, and a lot of times in these shuffles people do that, or in like 16th note bass grooves. Like, you know, you can do that in a lot of different settings. It doesn't mean you have to play it like that. If that, you know, that can be tough if you're not used to doing that technique. You could play it all tip up top here or all shoulder on the edge. I would say, you know, whatever helps you get this down, and then as you start to get more comfortable with it, I would maybe try it, you know, but you could try it all three ways if you wanted to. Eventually try it this way. But I would say this adds to the difficulty. If you're not used to this technique already, you could maybe like keep that out of it at first when you're just kind of getting the pattern, you know, down and everything. So moving on though, the next thing we're going to put in here is well, the next thing I would do is like basically keep going with just your hands, and we're going to start adding in, there's some extra ghost notes in there on the snare, and they come in on the trip of 2 and the trip of 4. So let's put those in real quick. It'd be like this. And so once you get comfortable with that, I would maybe then start bringing in the kick drum, and even if you can bring the kick drum in on 1 and then do it with those ghost notes, that'd be like this. And you know, start to play that for a while till you start feeling more and more comfortable with that. And then we're going to start adding in some extra kicks beyond this. So it's going to be that 1, then the let of 1, and then it's the let of 2, and the let of 4. And so we put that all together. Now we're getting closer to having the whole beat. It'd be like this. And then the final piece of the puzzle is the open hi-hat, which does, you know, enhance this beat and makes a big difference. It's a really cool open hi-hat. And it's usually, where he does it most of the time is on the let of 1. So it's going to line up with that second kick drum. And so you could practice going. Yeah, try to get used to doing that, which is just like a one triplet, and then, you know, putting in that open hi-hat can be a little bit difficult at first, but that I would say, you know, do that. That might be like the final step. To me, that's the flow I would go in. I find sometimes it's easier to put those more difficult, like little open hi-hats or bell hits or whatever it is, you know, to do that at the end. But if you have a different workflow, or if you feel like it's easier to put that in right up front, by all means, you could do it that way too. But I'll show it to you now. This is like the complete beat that you're going to hear throughout the song. So it'd be like this. All right, so that's the beat that you're going to hear through most of the song, but he does do a different variation on the choruses, and he basically switches over to the ride bell, and he starts playing quarter note triplets on the bell. And you can think of this as being in, you know, triplets in 4/4, or you can think of it as being in 12/8. It's really it's going to sound the same when you play it. So whatever makes the most sense to you, I would say you could think of it either way. I think of it as being in like triplets in 4/4. And if you're not familiar with like the quarter note triplet rhythm, you can think of it as like it's like you're skipping every other note of an eighth note triplet. So it's like 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, and yeah, you get those 6 notes per measure basically. And so that's what he switches over to on the bell, and then he keeps the same kick pattern and the main accented snare on 3. So it's like. And so if we bring the bell in, And then, if you listen closely, he does have the hi-hat in there with his foot. I think he is playing it on 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of times when I've played the song, I'll do it on just 2 and 4. It's an important part. I would say it's significantly more difficult, I think, to play 1, 2, 3, 4 versus just 2 and 4. So I would say if you can't get that at all, what I just played is gonna get you through the gig or like the song. It's gonna sound pretty much like the full beat. Those are the most important things. This part. But if you can and you're up for a challenge, bringing this in, like I said, I'll do it on 2 and 4 right now. And then if you want to try it on 1, 2, 3, 4, you can try that as well. But that would be like this. All right, and those are the main grooves for the song. The one other section is that like middle part where it goes to like the montuno, and it kind of changes feels. It switches to a like a straight like 16th note feel. And I won't get too much into this section, but all it really is the kick drum and the hi-hat go together just on like the downbeat, just 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like. And then he's mainly just playing 16th notes on the snare, and there's some accents that are in there that kind of move around. But I'll play it with some of the main accents that you'll hear, especially in the beginning. So it's like this. If you really want to get that part down, I would just listen to that section a bunch. If you want to get all the accents that he does. Whenever I've played this, I kind of take the liberty to just like have some fun with it. I might bring in some toms and do something like this. So that part's kind of just a fun thing, and if you ever play this with a band, you could open that up as like a drum solo or like a drum percussion jam if you have a percussionist. So you can kind of have some fun with that section. They also have the whistle in there and stuff. But that's it. That's really the main 3 sections of as far as the drums go in this song. That's all the parts there. So it is a tricky song to play with the right feel and to we're all kind of just trying to emulate John Bonham the best we can, right? He plays it so smooth and has like the perfect feel for it. But try these things I said. Try it slowly, break it down, and there's also like a YouTube video where there's if you look up "Fool in the Rain" drums, there's a version where it's just the drums for the song. Listen to that if you want to really hear all the subtle details and stuff of what the drums are doing. And just take your time. Build into it, and it's one of those beats that may take longer than some of the other ones you're used to learning if you haven't done any halftime shuffles like this. But I think it's a beat that you want to know as a drummer, and definitely worth your time to get down. So good luck with it. Have fun, guys, and I'll see you next time.